All right, we're going to solve this by factoring. To solve this by factoring, I need one side to equal to 0. So I'm going to have to add 16 both sides. Okay, if I add 16 both sides, we're going to have 3x squared minus 26x plus 16 equals 0. Now, a lot of people want to add the 16 to either 26 or 3, but they're not like terms. And it has to be in standard form, so you know your A is equal to 3, B is equal to negative 26, and C is equal to 16. Okay, if the order was different, then your ABC will be messed up. So make sure that's in standard form. Now, after having this, so first step, okay, check for GCF. Okay, check if there's any GCF that you can pull out. Looking at 3, 26, and 16, we don't have anything, so we skip to the second step. Okay, second step is to make the 3 terms into 4 terms. Okay, to do that, we're going to be using our X method. Okay, AC goes on top, B goes on the bottom. So 3 times 16 is going to give me 48 positive. Now the bottom is going to be negative 26. We got to come up with 2 numbers that will multiply to the top and add to the bottom. So multiply to the top and add to the bottom. Okay, we're going to call this B1 and B2 because we're splitting the middle one. So, in other words, B1 times B2 has to equal to AC, which is on top. Okay, B1 plus B2 has to give you B. Okay, so if you can't think of those 2 numbers on top of your head, I'm going to start factoring out the 48, listing out 2 numbers that will multiply to 48. So 1 and 48. Obviously, they don't add up to 26. 2 and 24. These 2 actually work. Okay, they both have to be negative because if I leave it as 2 and 24, it's going to give me positive 26 when you add them up. So it has to be negative 2, negative 24. Again, negative 2 times negative 24 gives you positive 48. Negative 2 plus negative 24 gives me negative 26. Okay, so when I split up the negative 26 into 2 terms, okay, we're going to have 3x squared. Okay, you can either have 24 or 2. I'm going to choose to have negative 24 first. 24x minus 2x plus 16. Again, those 2 numbers are here with the x. Okay, rest of them, we got it from 3x squared and 16 here. And of course, it has to equal to 0. If you don't let it equal to 0, we cannot solve. Okay, so given this, we're going to factor by grouping. So step number 3, factor by grouping. Okay, so then I'm going to group the first 2 and the last 2. Okay, so then from looking at 3x squared minus 24x, I know my 3x comes out. So we have x minus 8. Remember, when you distribute this back in here, we have to go back to what we started off with. Looking at the second one, I have to factor out 2, which is negative, okay, because I have to have a common binomial. If I had x minus 8 here, I have to have x minus 8 there. And of course, that equals to 0. So when you factor things out, I'm going to have the 3x and negative 2 here in 1. 3x minus 2 will be 1 binomial, and then the common binomial will be x minus 8 equals 0. Now, this is the factored form. So then we need to solve. Okay. Step 4 is to solve. Now, we talked about it. If any numbers, if I have 2 numbers, let's say we have a times b equals 0, a is equal to 0, or b is equal to 0. We listed out a bunch of numbers that will multiply to 0, and then that's what we saw as a pattern, right? The rule is that one of them has to be 0, at least one of them. Okay, so then I'm going to have 3x minus 2, the first one. 3x minus 2 equals 0. because no matter what this is, if this is 0, then it's going to equal to 0. So x minus 8 is equal to 0. You let the parentheses, you let the binomials equal to 0, and you solve for x. We're going to add the 2 both sides. So we have 3x equals 2. Divide both sides by 3. X is going to be 2/3. This is one of your answer. Okay, going here, we're going to add 8 both sides. X is going to equal to 8. And those 2 are your x's. That's it. Okay, to check your answers, we can plug these numbers back into the original problem, which was these, right? 3x squared minus 26x plus 16. Okay, you can plug it back in there and you're going to get a 0. Okay, that's it.